number 3, Chasing Big Joe, 102.5 The Game. Here on this Wednesday, he's Nick Frazier, a.k.a. Dr. Crane. I'm Chase McCabe, a.k.a. The Suit. And he's Brandon Bigsby, a.k.a. Brando. Big Joe will be back tomorrow when we're at the Omni Nashville Hotel. And the Predators will be back in action. We may have Max Hurst today. I know they just landed in L.A. We'll see. They may not be at the hotel in time. So we'll see if we can catch up with Max at some point today. But the Predators have gotten to Los Angeles. They'll take on the Kings tomorrow night. And one thing that I think has been a positive of having so many days off is that they've gotten to practice. Because you look at how condensed this schedule has been, they have not had a ton of practice time over the course of really the last couple of months since the Olympic break. Andrew Brunette yesterday spoke to the media and was asked about that limited practice time and be able to use some of this time off to work on some things.
Well, I think as a coach, the players probably think it's great. As a coach, you kind of miss a little bit of that practice time, and we really haven't practiced since the Olympic break. And you can kind of see it in parts of our game. So today was a good little chance to reset everything. But unfortunately, really, I think probably the rest of the year we have the practice, maybe 2. So you try to get the most out of it today.
I was going to say, that was pretty intense in moments out there today, maybe a little different than normal this time of year. How important was that day for you?
Yeah, I think it was important. I think there was a lot of excitement in our group. I think from, like I said, to get to this point, to be ready to go on the road as a group, we've been a really tight group all year, and they enjoy each other, and they want to keep this going, so they're excited to get going.
That was Andrew Brunette yesterday with practice. You can hear it. The coach wants practice time. The players want to be off. But there were some things, and I think if you watch especially some of these starts that they've had, Nick, they need it. They need some practice time. They need to especially the young guys could benefit from dusting up on some things.
Yeah, definitely sharpen the knives in the kitchen drawer for sure. I'm trying to compartmentalize and look at this, Nashville Predators 6-game road trip as a playoff road trip in a roundabout way. 6 away games. Again, your backs are kind of against the wall in a roundabout way. You still hold that 1 point in the wild card standings in that second wild card spot. But again, you're kind of scoreboard watching tonight, watching the Blues and Kings game. But when you look at this, and you make a good point about the practices, is it kind of resets things for guys like Steven Stamkos and Philip Forsberg and even Brady Shea and Jonathan Marchessault. I'm not, forgetting about Roman Josi. I think Roman Josi's played pretty good for the most part in the last few games. But you go and look at those 3 additions when Barry Trotz was first added on as the GM, Marchessault, Shea, and Stamkos. Stamkos is on the brink of 40 goals once again, and you got to just add in the factor of Brady Shea and Marchessault. To me, those are the big additions into this 6-game road trip stretch that you have to focus in on.
Yeah, the guys that you pay to be the guys need to step up and be the guys. That's Forsberg, that's Josi, that's Marchessault, that's Stamkos, that's Saros. You need to get that kind of production out of the guys that you expect to do that for you. And so I agree with you. And look, Stamkos has been remarkable in how much he's turned it around, and the fact that, in November he had 3 goals and now he's close to 40. That's pretty remarkable. Not many people can do that. And obviously there's a reason he's a Hall of Famer, but they need those guys to step in and contribute on this road trip, and it starts tomorrow night. I don't like using the phrase must win, but tomorrow's a must-win game. Whether L.A. wins tonight or not, which Preds fans all around are going to be pulling for the St. Louis Blues tonight, which they're right on your tail. But to keep L.A. behind you, you need St. Louis to win, and you need them to win in regulation. You do not need L.A. to get a point tonight. Otherwise, if they get a point, they're tied with you, and I believe they win the tiebreaker right now.
Yeah, it's not a good look at all. I was listening yesterday to DVD and when they had Barry Trotz on, and obviously Eric Hall has been a topic of conversation because he was one of those trade deadline pieces that could have been moved but wasn't. How do you think, from your perspective, watching this team play, what's your evaluation of Eric Hall right now after all the additions and subtractions they've had to this roster?
I think he's been what you kind of expected him to be. He's going to go through streaks. He's a good veteran presence. I will be curious how the new GM addresses that. If he, since he wasn't traded, does the new GM want to consider bringing him back on a 1-year deal? to be a veteran presence? Is Matt Wood doing enough, to make you think he can go into next season as your number 2 center? Is Brady Martin going to factor into things next year? Like, is he ready? I would say as of right now, the answer to that question is no, but you never know. So those kind of things are going to help you determine, is Hollis somebody you want to bring back or not? I've liked him. I liked, I kind of questioned the move a little bit when they traded a pick to get him, but then when they moved Colton Sissons, I got it. Like, he was the Colton Sissons replacement. And he's versatile. He can play on the second line, he can play on the third line, play on the fourth line. So I think he has been good, but you're not expecting him to go out and just completely light the woods on fire.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, and looking at that too, like with the subtractions of Michael McCarron, Cole Smith, where do you see the biggest gaping hole on this Preds team right now without those guys being there in those late game situations?
I mean, they still need they need center depth.
Yeah.
I mean, they're seeing what Wood can do at center, but they need big-time center depth. And I think that's what the new GM is going to be looking for, is trying to find, help at that position.
Mentioning GM and listening to the inflection of, Andrew Brunette's voice there in that clip coming back, what do you think his future is? Because it seems like, listening to that, it's like he's enjoying the ride as the head coach of the Nashville Predators right now. I wonder what the new GM might think of that.
It's a great question. I'll answer it coming up next, because I knew you were going to ask me that, and I think there's a lot of things that have to be looked at, and we'll discuss that coming up next. Chasing Big Joe on a Wednesday, 102.5 The Game. Chasing Big Joe, 102.5 The Game on this Wednesday with Nick Frazier and Brandon Bigsby. The Predators back in action tomorrow. You asked me the question, what the future might hold for Andrew Brunette when it comes to a new general manager. The true answer is I don't know, because a new GM may come in just like Barry Trotz did, evaluate things and go, you know what, he's a good coach, but I want my coach. And, and the other thing too is, and I know Barry kind of alluded to this and talked about this, is are they bringing in one person to be GM and president of hockey operations, which is what David Poyle was for a long time? Are they going to split that position and have a president of hockey ops and a general manager? I don't know. So I think there's a lot, and it's a crappy position to be in if you're Andrew Brunette, but it's the business, and you know that. John Hines went through it, of the new GM or the new leadership could come in here and go, I think this team needs more of a veteran coach. And if ever there was a time to find veteran coaches, it's right now. You have available Pete DeBoer, who's out there, who's a no-nonsense guy. You have just fired Bruce Cassidy, which I would say if you're interested in keeping one player in Pacific that played in the Pacific Division, Bruce Cassidy might be somebody to call. I'll let you figure out that player. But he's a Stanley Cup winning coach, a very good coach. So you have him. You have Peter Laviolette, who's won a Stanley Cup, who would be out there. I don't know if you'd want to go back down that road again, but you could. I don't think you're going to talk Barry Trotz into coaching. So there's that. And then Gerard Gallant is one that is available. So, I mean, there are a lot of veterans that, if you wanted to go down that road, plus I'm sure more are going to be available when, the season is over, you could look at that. I think Andrew Brunette is a good coach. I think he has done a good job trying to manage all of this, especially post-deadline. And so I think that should be taken into account. But again, a new GM could come in and go, we're just going to go clean slate. And that means, coaching staff and all of that. So it's a roundabout way to say I don't know what it means. I mean, I definitely think he's auditioning right now.
Yeah, looking at just the resume of Andrew Brunette, especially when he was with Florida, and that the first Stanley Cup that they won, that team was quite youthful. Looking at that roster, and correct me if I'm wrong, but then looking at this Preds roster right now, you have a little mix of vets and the youngs. I get all that, but a little bit more production out of the youthful players right now on this Preds roster. It just gives me a little bit more optimism for a guy like Andrew Brunette with this team going forward.
Yeah. I mean, and look, there are some good GM names that could be out there, as well. Peter Chiarelli is one that was the former Oilers GM. He's got experience. He's older. Brett Peterson, Bill Scott. Brett Peterson's with Florida. Bill Scott's with Edmonton. Mark Bergevin, that was the Montreal GM. He's a name that's been floated out there. I've seen Brendan Shanahan's name floated out there. So it kind of just depends on what they're looking for. And Barry is consulting on this. He's a part of the process. Sean Henry, Bill Haslam. I mean, there are others, but I think they are doing all the due diligence and going to try and find the right one, and then allow that person or persons come in and do what they think is best for the franchise. I think anything would be on the table. The new GM may come in and go, I don't think Jonathan Marchessault is a fit. I don't think that Brian Ufko is a fit. I don't think, Brady Martin. They might look at Brady Martin and go, he doesn't fit what I want to do. I'm going to trade him.
Yeah.
And you have to be comfortable with that of seeing what happens. Now, I don't think he's going to say that, but you never know. I mean, and then he could look and go, I like Andrew Brunette. He's a good coach. He's not the coach I want, and I'm going to go get the coach I want. So, and some of those veteran guys that I named are, no-nonsense hard asses, which may not be a bad thing. And I think Bruno can be that way. Don't get me wrong. But I will be it's going to be an interesting offseason. The free agent class is not that great, but I think there are some depth pieces you could find out there. Obviously, you got the draft capital that you could trade and make some moves. If they don't make the playoffs, and let's just say things just crash and burn the rest of the way, they could potentially be in the lottery. So that you can improve your draft position. We saw it last year. The Islanders jumped 10 spots and got the number 1 pick.
It's crazy how that works.
Yeah. So, it's anything is possible at this point, but.
And I'm not just saying this because, flagship, whatever it may be, but I really do think the Preds are in a good position right now. Because like you mentioned right there, Chase, they're not too far off from a lottery pick. They're also not too far off from a playoff spot. Mm-hmm. And, they're in a little bit of a transition part with Barry Trotz and a new GM, maybe a potential president of hockey ops. To me, the upswing is definitely in the now, and I like the optimism that I see for the future of this franchise. But, I'm, again, not just saying that just for whatever, but I really do see a positive outlook on this team going forward.
What I will say to the fans out there that are like, oh, we're just going to get beat in the first round or whatever, there's a very good chance you're right. But there's also a chance that crazy things can happen, a la 2017. Now, I'm not predicting – I think that team and this team were very different. But I'm just saying things can happen. My concern is watching the last 3 games that resulted in losses, playing teams that are better than you. It kind of shows you where the gap is. So, even though you have favorable matchups the rest of the way that could get you into the playoffs – certainly there are questions of how do you match up against Colorado. And this isn't the same Colorado team from earlier in the year, but I still think they are much better than you are.
Yeah.
Now, if they could somehow get that first wild card spot and play Anaheim, I like that matchup much better. If you got to travel a long way anyway, I'd rather have the matchup that favors me. But that is certainly a something to think about as we move forward. Go over on our text line driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. Mike Malarkey went through the same thing, if I'm not mistaken. Wasn't he a lame duck with J-Rob's hiring, he went on, won a playoff game, but got let go anyway? Yeah, pretty much. Because I think John had decided that that Malarkey was at the ceiling. He wanted Mike Vrabel. It was not really a big secret that he wanted Mike Vrabel, and that's what they did.
But again, to that point, what Mike Malarkey did skyrocketed that franchise into a whole different chapter, which is a good thing.
And J-Rob has been very good about saying that Malarkey had the culture fixed and had everything in place for Vrabel to come in. So, and unfortunately that happens sometimes. Like, we talk about rebuilds. Well, a lot of times the people that are responsible for the rebuild get fired and don't get to see the fruits of their labor. Mm-hmm. But they're the ones that put it in the right direction.
So again, for Barry Trotz's perspective of being the GM, maybe he is the one that is putting this trajectory up into the right swing.
Essentially.
And that's kind of how it seems like it. So
yeah, I mean, look, and I say this phrase in no way an insult to David Poyle, but he's trying to leave it better than he found it. That's how I was always taught. You go someplace, you leave it better than you found it. And David obviously left him in a good position. And so he's trying to do the same, for the next person. So just something, some interesting discussion. I don't think we're going to have Max. We'll check that during the break, but we'll come back with more. Tee it up with us at the 5th Annual 615 Open, May 28th at Hermitage Golf Course. Once again, we're supporting Folds of Honor to help them find life-changing scholarships for families of America's fallen heroes. Register now to play or sponsor at 615open.com. Chasing Big Joe here on this Wednesday, 102.5 The Game. Chasing Big Joe on this Wednesday, 102.5 The Game. Talking about April Fools. I saw this on X during COVID when we had no sports. On April Fool's Day, the Mississippi Daily Journal put in their sports section under transactions in baseball, the Cleveland Indians signed catcher Jake Taylor, relief pitcher Rick Vaughn, third baseman Roger Dorn, outfielder Willie Mays Hayes, outfielder Pedro Serrano, starting pitcher Eddie Harris, and to one-year contracts, and named Lou Brown the manager. If you know, you know.
That
but
team,
it was well done.
Team definitely going to the World Series of that.
They also have more movie references with others, which is in the minor leagues, Visala Rawhide named Lawrence Crash Davis as the manager.
That's great.
I thought that was good. So hard to believe that was 6 years ago, but it was. So
Time
April
flies.
It does. This is interesting. Thomas in Nashville said, "Guys, I've said it before and I stand by it. I wish the Preds would bring Phil Housley back in some capacity. He was a big key to the 16, 17, and 18 teams." That from Thomas on our car phone. Howie was last with the Rangers. He was on Peter Laviolette's staff with them until last year. Didn't coach this year. I like Phil Housley, but I don't know. I mean, Roman Josi owes Phil Housley a lot, so maybe he could help develop some of these young defensemen. But I don't know. I don't know if there'd be any interest. I wouldn't bring him back as a head coach, but I'd look at as assistant potentially.
Yeah, I mean, if you can bring a guy like that back and definitely help out with a defensive shot and or just the movement off the puck, I think with a lot of these younger defenders, and like for example Ryan Ufko, who's been nothing but I'd say exceptional right now. I'd say you bring in a guy like Tanner Molendijk eventually. Like those are guys that are your core pieces going forward. It's a matter of getting them more reps. And I think,
hope they're your core pieces,
right? Well, on paper right now, they seems to be the core pieces. But yeah, to your point, you hope. But no, I think if that is in the cards, that'd be cool. But as of right now, it doesn't seem like it.
Yeah. So I don't know. Cale Makar going to miss some time with an injury, upper body injury for the Colorado Avalanche. He was injured in a 9-2 win against Calgary on Monday, and had 3 assists in the game. But he was hit by Adam Klapka with 5:28 left in the second, and then did not take any shifts in the third period. Jared Bednar, the head coach, said, quote, "He's doing okay. He's going to miss some time, though, like nothing serious. Nothing that's putting the playoffs in jeopardy or anything like that. If someone has something going on this time of year, we want to make sure they're right for the playoffs. and the last handful of games of the season. So we're going to keep him out for a little bit. So it sounds like it's more precautionary than anything.
I mean, look, if that kind of dips their play a little bit, they're looking at some teams that are still in the playoff contention. Edmonton, one of those. You look at St. Louis, like you mentioned, they're right behind the Nashville Predators in the wild card standings. I mean, it's not a slouch of a finish for the Avalanche. So I'm just saying there's an 8-point difference between Dallas and Colorado in that division.
Yeah, I don't see Dallas catching them, but I mean, look, that's a guy you want in your lineup. So with 108 points, they look like they're on track to clinch the President's Trophy, barring any kind of craziness going on. Dallas, as you mentioned, is at 100 points in the West. Buffalo at 100 points in the East, which I never thought I'd say that, but they're on fire. So Colorado, Dallas, they've clinched playoff spots. Minnesota's in the third spot and the Central. Over in the Pacific, you have Anaheim, Edmonton, and Vegas, with the wild card spots being Utah and currently Nashville. Nashville at 77 points. The Kings 1 point back. Again, they play the Blues tonight. So the Kings and the Jets each have 76 points. The Sharks, the Kraken have 75, and the Blues sit with 73. So that's how tight it all is with the Blues 4 points back of the Preds. The Kings and the Jets 1 point back, and then the Sharks and Kraken 2 points back.
That's crazy. That is absolutely nuts how tight that race is. I mean, the fact that the Preds hold their own destiny right now in some form or fashion. I know some teams have a couple games in hand, but just win. One game at a time.
There's 3 games tonight. Go Blues, who are in L.A. to take on the Kings, and go Ducks, who are in San Jose to take on the Sharks.
Give me that flying V, baby.
That's what you need. And then 14 games tomorrow. The Predators will play the L.A. Kings. And then the Jets are in Dallas to take on the Stars, so we'll be watching that one, and that game is going to be close to over when the Preds drop the puck. So we'll be paying attention there. And the Maple Leafs are in San Jose to take on the Sharks, so that one's important. And Utah is in Seattle to take on the Kraken. So So the points, the standings could change a lot come tomorrow night.
Yeah, I mean, look, if Anaheim wants to go grab Charlie Conway from the Mighty Ducks, I'm cool with that. That'd be great. That's a good April Fools.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's an interesting thing about to happen. So we shall see.
I mean, looking at some of the other looking at the Pacific, like right now, you have Anaheim that leads that with 87, but Edmonton's not too far behind them with 2 points. 85, that is. Behind them, trailing 2 points. So looking at that, and again, Vegas is not too far of it either with 82. So a lot of those teams are just right behind each other. It just is a matter of, if the Preds can kind of hold on to their position, and you just hope Edmonton does not overtake Anaheim. Because, I get Leon Draisaitl's out the rest of the season with his injury, but I would not want to take on Edmonton. If that is the case, if they go for wild card 1 purposes.
Potentially, yeah. So you talk about April Fools. This is one. Per sources, the NHL has voted to abolish the shootout for the 26-27 season. Moving forward, if a game remains tied at 3-on-3 overtime, officials release one highly agitated Canadian goose at center ice. Whichever team's goalie can successfully catch it wins. I would like that better than a shootout, to be honest.
It'd be kind of like a slip and slide going after, a goose,
Yeah.
Are you a fan of the 3-on-3?
No.
Okay.
I'm not. I get it. I understand why they do it. It's gimmicky. The shootout's gimmicky. But again, I understand its purpose. So it's like I don't have a better solution. I think as long as you keep it all out of the playoffs, you're good. But I liked the 4-on-4 when they did a full 20-minute 4-on-4. Or not 20 minutes, but what they do, a 10-minute,
10-minute abbreviated, yeah.
I liked that, but I get it, and it serves its purpose, so that's kind of where they're at.
And also just looking at the Utah Mammoths' last couple games here, or few games in April, you have Seattle on Thursday, Vancouver on Saturday, then you have Edmonton next week, the Preds on the 9th in Nashville, at Utah, and then Carolina, Calgary, Winnipeg, St. Louis. So again, that's not a slouch of a schedule for them either. Like there is a valid opportunity for the Nashville Predators if they can just win one game at a time. I mean, Utah could easily slip up. They really could.
They could indeed. 615-737-1025. Hey, swing by John Daly's, located at 1907 Division Street in Nashville this Saturday for a basketball watch party you don't want to miss. It's brought to you by Good Boy Vodka. You can enjoy $25 Good Boy bucket specials, and 1025 The Game will be on site from 5 to 7 with prizes and more. Don't miss it out, only at John Daly's. I still need to check that place out. I've heard good things.
I've yet to go either.
I just want to see John Daly. I want to meet John Daly.
Pull a cigarette out of his back pocket, light it up right there.
Barefoot.
Yeah. I wonder what the bottom of his feet are like. I mean,
I don't know if I want to know that, but
I know it's an odd thing to bring up, but like, have you ever heard of the guy Barefoot Willie or whatever, the Alabama fan? He doesn't wear any shoes.
Yeah.
The bottom of his feet are just calloused, and I'm like, holy cow! It's almost like you wearing just a pair of shoes.
I don't know if you've ever heard Jeff Fisher tell the story that Walter Payton he'd get his cleats and he would take the padding out of the shoe where the cleats, he could feel the cleats on his feet. He wanted to feel
the studs,
each individual cleat where he knew where to cut and have that feeling. And so he had callous feet, from that, but that's how he wanted,
interesting.
Wanted it, which I thought was pretty crazy. Tommy says, talking about April Fools, my buddy called this morning saying we traded the 4th pick and Pollard to Baltimore for Derrick Henry. I believed it because that's the stuff the Titans do. That'd be bad.
I mean, at some point, if Baltimore...
A 4th rounder and Tony Pollard for Derrick Henry? Okay, I'll do that, but not the 4th overall pick.
No, absolutely not. Talking about Derrick Henry for a quick second, what do you...
Miss that guy.
Yeah, I know. We all miss him, right? But... Well, when is it? It's almost inevitable, like the whole A.J. Brown conversation. Does that all get reunited in New England?
Oh, no. I don't think they trade Henry or part with Henry.
Really?
No.
I just don't see it. I don't see him winning a championship in Baltimore. I don't see that obviously John Harbaugh was one of the guys that would really facilitate a lot of what Baltimore did.
Yeah.
But to me, I just don't see the future outlook with Derrick Henry being positive in Baltimore.
No, I mean, eventually he's got to hit a wall.
Yeah.
Eventually. I mean, he is a freak of nature, and we all know that. But I would think at some point, he's going to hit that wall. But who knows? You never know. 615-737-1025. Coming up next, it is time for What Day Is It? And celebrity birthdays. Broadcasting from the Busy Bee Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning Game Nashville Studios. Home of the $99 yearly Beehive membership with a buzz is always about great service. It's Chasing Big Joe on 1025 The Game. Chasing Big Joe here on this Wednesday, 1025 The Game. He'll be back tomorrow. Nick Frazier, who has done a very nice job filling in, and Brando behind the glass as well. Appreciate all of you for weighing in on the phone and text line at 615-737-1025. Driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. And, of course, we're presented by the Omni Nashville Hotel, where we will be tomorrow at Barline. So looking forward to that. Do you feel better after your Italy soccer rant?
A little bit. I feel like there's a little bit more left on the table there. I could probably nibble off a few bites of pasta and just maybe express a little bit more frustration. Didn't like how they played it 3 at the back, like I mentioned earlier. I think with Roberto Mancini playing a 4 at the back, more attacking style, could have been adopted going forward, but they've resorted back to the old 1980s, let's defend. And last part I'll say about this. When Italy went down a man in the 41st minute, I did not appreciate the way that there were substitutions being made in the midfield to basically bring that middle block into the low block. And so your midfield line and your defenders are all conglomerated together, and it's like 7 defenders essentially. Wasn't a fan of that.
I just feel like you were just insulted by this whole thing.
Tremendously.
Yeah.
I remember every single event when it was the first time they missed out against Sweden. I was watching that at my grandmother's house in the den. The second time was on my way to community college. I had a movie class, which is pretty cool, like movie history studies. And I wore my 1992 long sleeve Italy jersey. And I wore it to class, and then I watched the final whistle blow in Milan, and they lost to Sweden. And then now yesterday, I was sitting at a fine restaurant establishment in Germantown and watched my poor Azzurri Blue go down into smithereens.
5956, I missed this earlier. Does Trey not call in anymore? I've heard him with Jake a time or two, but I have not. He hasn't called our show in a while, so I don't know where Trey is.
I wonder if he's back from his tooth or teeth situation in South America.
Potentially.
No, he left last Saturday is what he was saying.
Okay. Well, he's probably down there. That's where he is. With that, let's get to what day is it and celebrity birthdays.
All right. First, unless we have April Fool's Day, as everybody knows that. Boomer Bonus Day. So shout out to Joe Rexroad.
Yeah, I was about to say. Good for Joe.
Fossil Fool's Day. So for, the fools of dinosaurs, I guess. Global Day of the Engineer, excuse me. Holy Wednesday is today. International Edible Book Festival. Interesting. Didn't know that was a thing. Yeah. International Fun at Work Day. Oh, always have fun here, right? Got to make the most of it. International Tatting Day. This is not like tattoos. It's an umbrella of a design. What is International Tatting Day? This is...
I'm scared.
It's lace tatting. Used thread with the fingers, and you weave it in and out, and you can make stuff with it. So, like, your what do they call those little things you put on the teacup plates? What are they called? It's a fancy word. Text line, help me out with it. You know what I'm talking about. Those little white coasters that look like napkins that have a nice design. Well, continuing. Lupus Alert Day is today. National Day of Hope. National Jump in Muddy Puddles Day. Well, it's not muddy outside. National Love for Our Children Day. National 1 Cent Day. We don't make the 1 cent anymore. National Sourdough Bread Day. Delicious. Joe missed out on his favorite day. National Soylent Green Day. So, what a bummer.
I do want to say for all the NASCAR fans out there that back in 1993 on this day, we lost the late, great Alan Kulwicki, the 92 Winston Cup Series champion who died in a plane crash near Bristol, Tennessee, at only 38 years old. And being 38, that's just crazy to read. But Kulwicki was one of the best and had just won the championship. And so 1993, hard to believe. That was 33 years ago.
That is crazy.
We lost Alan Kulwicki, and unfortunately a few months later, Davey Allison. But just saw that on Twitter. Wanted to pass that along. All right, celebrity birthdays.
Yes, celebrity birthdays right here. A good list, actually. You like this. I'll start with some that are not as known. Rapper Kid Ink. I don't know if you've heard of Kid Ink. Chase, you go first today. How old is rapper Kid Ink?
38.
33.
40. Chase is on the board. 1-0. Okay. Right. Brando, here you go here. Taron Killam. He is SNL comedian. He's done some impersonations of Tim Tebow. And then he was also on that Amanda Bynes show or whatever it's called on Nickelodeon back in the day.
Oh, the Amanda Show.
Yeah, that. Yeah.
Let's go 41.
40.
44. Just on the outside corner there. Let's see. Baseball pitcher Cutter Crawford was recently with the Boston Red Sox. How old is Cutter Crawford, Chase?
26.
30.
30 on the nose. Okay. Nice. So 2-1 Brando. Singer of Lady Adam Ellum, Hillary Scott. How old is Hillary Scott?
Pratt alum of the Middle Tennessee State University as well. 39.
42.
40. Chase is closer. He gets that one. So tied at 2-2. All right. MSNBC anchor Rachel Maddow. How old is Rachel Maddow, Brando?
49.
56.
53. Close, but no cigar. And then these two, I've saved the best for last here. YouTube sensation, WWE superstar, Logan Paul. How old is Logan Paul today?
The Maverick. Stay humble. Brando, you want to go first?
Yeah, sure. 31.
I'm going to say 28.
31 exactly. So he's up 4-2. We got another birthday. If it's tied after this one, I'll find another one. But another WWE superstar. Been around for a while. The one from St. Louis, Missouri himself.
Does he hear the voices?
He does hear the voices. Randy Orton. How old is Randy Orton today, Chase?
He's listening to the voices. Randy Orton, 45.
Gosh, that's what I was going to say. I'll say 44.
46. So he's one behind. Let me find another birthday real quick because this is getting real testy.
So what's the score?
He's up by 1. It's 4-3.
4-3?
Yep, 4-3. Let's see. A birthday here we have.
That's not right.
Yeah. He had 1 on the nose, which is 2. And then he got 2 of them on 1.
I thought I had it. Okay, you're right. All right.
All right, and let's see here. Last birthday on the list, if it'll pop up. Nope, that's not right. Please show up birthdays. Okay, there we go. All right. Let's see here. Never heard of. Oh, here we go. This is somebody that we all know. Barstool Sports personality Hannah Montoya. How old is Hannah Montoya?
37.
25.
25 on the nose. Brando is taking the lead for that one.
Yeah, well, congratulations, Brando. That's 2 days in a row.
Yeah.
Brando, in a guest role, has done a good job. So that is going to do it for us here today. A reminder, you can go to unitycares.com/BigJoe because guys, girls, we all want you here. We know that you can go through some struggles. We've all gone through struggles, but it's okay to not be okay, and we want you to talk to somebody. So reach out. You can reach out to all of us. You can go to thegamenashville.com in our show page and find the links, but we want you here. We love you, and more importantly, God loves you. Peace, love, rock and roll. DVD is coming up next. Great job, Nick. Great job, Brando. Big Joe back tomorrow. And we'll talk to you starting at noon on 102.5 The Game.